Hello and welcome to another Tri-tutors video. In today's video, we are going to be looking at some of the functions of common punctuation marks. Now, this is an important video for you to be watching in terms of applying the functions of punctuation mark correctly in your writing, but it's also really important if you're studying for paper one because you often get those questions where you have to identify or figure out what the function of a particular punctuation mark is. So this is important for your own writing, but also when you're analyzing other people's writing, especially when you are answering questions paper one. What is important to recognize is I'm going to go through some of the most common punctuation marks that they tend to ask questions about, but remember that there are a variety of functions for certain of these punctuation marks. So when you get a question in an exam paper, you always need to go back to the sentence, back to the text to see the punctuation mark and how it's used in context, because then you'll be able to identify which one of the functions of that particular punctuation mark has the writer intended to use here. So let's go through some of the most commonly asked punctuation functions. The first one is for inverted commas or quotation marks. There is a plethora of different reasons or functionalities of this particular punctuation mark. It could be used for direct speech, the exact words someone says. It could be used for sarcasm to indicate the opposite of what you're intending to say or the opposite of what you are actually writing. Book titles. Italics could also be used to show book titles, but sometimes inverted commas are used. Slang, foreign languages can also use italics, but sometimes they do use inverted commas. Next, we have a dash. A dash is used to show an explanation or an elaboration. You can see I've used dashes in all of my different bullet points over here because I'm showing an explanation of what the function of the particular punctuation mark is. Parentheses. Now, parentheses, we have three kinds. This is brackets, double dashes, or double commas. So we can use any of those punctuation marks to indicate extra or additional information. A hyphen, that's the short line, and that's used to join two words to create a compound word. An apostrophe is used to show contraction, singular possession, or plural possession. This is one that people usually tend to, get wrong or use it mistakenly. So remember, an apostrophe is not to show possession. That is not what the function of an apostrophe is. An apostrophe is used to show contraction. So if you have I and am, you put it together, it becomes I'm, and you put the apostrophe where the missing letter is. Singular possession when something belongs to one person, or plural possession when something belongs to a group of people. A colon indicates the start of a list or an explanation. A comma is used to separate items on a list or to separate a main and subordinate clause. And the comma splice error is something that you definitely want to avoid, but also be able to identify when you are doing your textual editing or your language section. And that is when a comma is used to separate two main clauses. This should not be the case. What you need to replace that comma with is a full stop or a semicolon or even a coordinating conjunction. And the easy way to remember your coordinating conjunctions is using fanboys, for and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. A semicolon joins two related main clauses, and an ellipsis shows missing information, and the effect is it can create some sense of suspense. Now, these are not all of the punctuation marks and not all the functions that could be asked. These are just the ones that come up the most often, so you should definitely be aware of them. As I said before, make sure if you're answering a paper one question, you always go back and look at the context in which these are being utilized, and then you can identify, especially for something like inverted commas, for instance. You don't want to just guess what it's being used for. You need to go back to the sentence that it's used in, go back to the context, and understand, okay, this writer has used it for indicating direct speech, or perhaps this writer has used it to indicate sarcasm. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found the video helpful. I'll see you in the next one.